Good afternoon. I just got home from church, sent the little ones inside, and I'm still out in my car because I feel like I need to share something. This morning during worship at church, we sang a song about the name of Jesus, about how salvation is his name, healing is his name, freedom is his name. And, sometimes when I struggle in my walk and I need that reminder that I need Jesus so immensely, just like I did at certain points in my life, there's this one particular moment where I come back to, and it's a memory of how the name of Jesus himself, but me speaking the name of Jesus literally saved my life. And a little backstory is when I was pregnant with my now 4-year-old, that pregnancy was so rough on me. Okay, I was not walking in faith either. I was just starting to get back to giving Jesus a chance, okay? Because years before, so much death, so much stuff, I was so blinded, the veil was very thick across my eyes, was in witchcraft and all this other stuff, and that's a video for a different day. But I was starting to pray, okay? In my pregnancy, I was having a lot of health issues, and whenever I have been pregnant, all 3 pregnancies, I have developed a heart condition called SVT, supraventricular tachycardia. It's where a part of your heart will start beating or skips beats, and it will throw the whole rhythm of your heart off. It will spike your heart rate, which spikes your blood pressure, etc., etc. So every pregnancy, I needed to be on medication. Even the pregnancy, whenever I was 16, I had to be on the same medication. Well, with my 3rd pregnancy, I was 26 years old, and for some reason, the same dose that's worked with my 2 others wouldn't work with this last pregnancy that I had. And so we had to figure it out. We had to split the dose. I had to take it twice a day instead of once a day. But I was very weak. I had so much physically going on with me, and I was just very lost, okay? Oh, Jesus, help me talk about this. It is very traumatic, but on the other side, it is a literal miracle that happened in my life. So I was 35 weeks pregnant, and my husband, he wasn't my husband at the time, but we had all finished eating, we were going to bed, and I remember being in the closet and started getting spotty vision. I was like, something's wrong. I'm not supposed to have spotty vision, okay? And so I sit there for a little bit, my heart rate's high, I've taken my medication, so there should be no reason, the medication should have prevented my heart from spiking. My blood pressure is high, the spots are getting worse, and I tell Chris, I was like, look, we need to take the kids to my mom, and we need to go to the ER. I just need to be checked. I called the ER, and they were like, or not the ER, but the labor and delivery, they were like, yeah, come into the ER. And so we took the kids, and I remember having the conversation in the car. It was before we took the kids. We actually took the kids to the hospital with us. I was like, we're gonna have to take them somewhere else. And I was calmer than what I was initially before, loading the kids up. But something was telling me, go to the hospital. So I did. Me and my husband, we dropped the kids off. We went, but we had that discussion, do we want to just go home and go to bed? And I was like, no, something's just telling me, I gotta go in there. And so I did. And we get into triage, or into where you register before triage, right away. And I remember I'm answering questions, and I'm just, my blood pressure is high, heart rate's high. They asked me, who's your primary care physician? And I know her name, and I couldn't say her name. I could see it in my mind. I couldn't speak it. So I started to lose my ability to talk at that point. So they call in somebody from the back immediately, take blood pressure, it's through the roof. They're like, okay, let's get you to bed. And I'm like, wait, I need to use the restroom. I was sick. I started getting sick, very violently. TMI, but it was bad. And the doctors were like, you need to come lay down. Come here, take a pause. And they kept asking me questions, and I couldn't answer. And I just kept that's all that my vocal cords were allowing me to do. And the words were in my head. I couldn't speak the words. I couldn't get my brain to work to speak the words. So I laid down. They start poking me, taking blood, setting IVs up, and checking my blood pressure again. And I look at the doctor, because everything was happening so fast, because they're like, she's 35 weeks pregnant, blurry vision, now she can't talk. And I pointed at the right side of my face and my arm, and I could just say, numb. And that's when he leaned out and he started yelling for a code stroke. And I am terrified. All the symptoms are pointing to, I was having a stroke or about to have a stroke. I couldn't speak, okay? I couldn't speak for maybe a good, I want to say 20 to 30 minutes. I could not form my words. I could not speak. And I remember what I was looking at. It was the ceiling as they were wheeling me, and they were going fast. They were just about running with me to get a CT. Looking at the light and the ceiling fixtures, and just the first words, other than numb, to let the doctors know what was going on, was, Jesus Christ, save my kids. Jesus Christ, save my kids. And I just kept repeating it. I kept calling out to Jesus, and I, in that moment, I was like, I'm dying. I'm going to die. I'm not going to get off this bed. God, just save the baby that's in my womb and protect the kids that I already have on the earth. Because I have a lot of trauma from losing my father. And I didn't want my kids to have to go through that. So this is the first time in full desperation that I called to Jesus Christ and I said, Jesus Christ, save my kids. Save my kids. Jesus Christ, please save my kids. It was not about me. I was just begging him, please save my kids. And this is the first time I can speak words out loud. That is no coincidence, guys. Not a coincidence at all. So we get to the CT room. This is in the matter of 5 minutes, maybe less, okay? They make my husband get out of the room. I get in that machine in this overwhelming peace. Like, I cannot express to you how I felt every bit of my vitals just clear up. Blood pressure normal, breathing was normal, heart rate was normal. I felt so overwhelmed with peace. Like, it was incredible. And in that moment, I knew, like, I was saved. I'm not gonna die. I'm not gonna die. I wish I knew back then and really grasped what I had done in calling out to Jesus and realized how big of a miracle it was. Sadly, I didn't, because I was in that moment, you know. But they get me back to the room after the CT. They had started giving me some medications to help keep my blood pressure stable and everything. And made me really dizzy and woozy and everything. But I started being able to talk. I had to talk with the neurologist. They kept me overnight for visits because I was still struggling to say certain words, but I was able to tell them, like, I know what it is. Like, I was able to say, I know what it is, but it was just taking a minute to connect. And I know people will probably say it was the hospital's intervention. There's no way, okay? There's no way that it would just stop everything. I know for a fact it was God. I know for a fact it was Jesus in my moment of need when I cried out to him who saved me that day. I wish back then it would have brought me as close to him then as I am now, but it helped, okay? It did help. I started praying all the time. I still wasn't grasping the concept, though, that I don't know, like, that God is near. Like, he's really truly near. So this morning, when I was singing that song, there's something about your name. Worthy is your name. Healing is your name. It always brings me back to that moment. And I thank God all the time that I have that moment to reflect back on. Even though it was traumatic and really super scary. It is a part of my testimony. And it is when I get fearful, something happens in my life now, and I speak the name of Jesus over it. And if I have just a little bit of doubt speaking his name, I always think back to, like, no, I don't have any doubt speaking his name because I've seen it instantly happen. Now, it doesn't mean that whenever you ask him for things, instantly it's going to be done just because you say the name of Jesus. But I have faith in knowing, part of that song is, he has not failed me yet. He's never going to fail you. Every time I've called on him in my life, he has kept me. And every single time I've called on him in my life, literally, he has kept me alive. And that's not even the only time he has saved my life. I believe he has saved my life at least 2 other times. And it's because I have prayed and called out to him. But that was the first time that I vocally called out to him. And my husband was there. We weren't married at the time because we weren't living that lifestyle. But I just felt like I needed to share that. Like, it's really, he is there. He is there, and he is faithful to help you in your time of need. Call out to him. Just, that's all he needed me to do. If I had not done that, felt that urge, because I had not been to church in years. He was nowhere on my radar, okay, until that moment. Nowhere on my radar until that moment. And I was like, wait a minute. And I looked at him as a last straw. Like this is my last chance. It's the only thing I can think of. And I thought of him last, and I wish I hadn't. So now I do my very best to think of him first in all things. But don't know why I had to share that. Maybe it's for someone else. I hope it would be, but that's part of my testimony, and I think it's really awesome. A really awesome part of my testimony. But I love you guys. I hope you have a good day. Bye-bye.